Good afternoon, I'm Alan Unell, and this series of videos is Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system, then try to make a better system for all of us by taking action. We have a lot of topics to cover today, some of them incredibly good medical news. I'm really happy about that. Before we get to it though, down below in the YouTube description box is a link to the Healthcare Advocacy newsletter that is the text for today's video. You can go there, subscribe for free. I don't charge for this stuff. All the actions I mention, all the references to news articles and medical journals and background material, it's all in the newsletter. There's also a sequence of references at the bottom of every newsletter. I need an abortion. What do I do for cybersecurity when I need an abortion? I need to contest a denied medical claim, or they're not giving me prior authorization. We got a lot of links there, and also links to other groups, organizations that generally support patients' rights and universal health care. So have a good time with that. Let's get started. The first one I want to talk about has to do with brain tumor. Good news. Glioblastoma is the most common and aggressive primary brain tumor. People have an average survival after diagnosis of less than 2 years. You know, it's one of those things that by the time they figure out you've got it, it's almost too late. Against glioblastoma, there are very few treatments that remain effective, like next to none. So most likely you just die. Anyway, in recent years, immunotherapies have given patients renewed hope, but with very modest success. Now, a team of researchers has succeeded in identifying a specific marker on the surface of tumor cells and generating immune cells carrying an antibody to destroy them. Furthermore, these cells, CAR T cells, appear to be capable of targeting diseased cells in the tumor that do not carry this antigen while sparing the healthy cells. This is so cool. It comes from the University of Geneva in Switzerland, and there's a link to their research there. You can read that. The next one I want to talk about is psoriasis. I know a whole bunch of people who have psoriasis, some that it even winds up being psoriatic arthritis, which is just debilitating. Anyway, scientists may have uncovered the root cause of psoriasis. This is big news. A chronic and sometimes debilitating skin disease. It affects between 2 and 3% of the world's population. The condition is characterized often by red scaly patches that impact the quality of a patient's life and sometimes can be life-threatening. Now, new research that was published in the journal Nature, and of course there's a link to it, strongly suggests that the hormone hepcidin may trigger the onset of the condition. This marks the first time that hepcidin has been considered a potential causal factor. In mammals, hepcidin is generally responsible for regulating the amount of iron in the body. Those most likely to benefit from such a treatment are patients with pustular psoriasis, which is a particularly severe and treatment-resistant form of the disease that can affect a patient's nails and joints as well as skin. The new treatment targeting iron hormone imbalance in the skin may occur very shortly. We may see reports of this, and this would be such a hopeful sign for people. Anyway, this innovative approach could significantly enhance the quality of life for just millions and millions of people. It'll restore confidence and lots of well-being to them. It'd be great. Anyway, I want to talk about accountability and healthcare. A reader, her name is Sue, asked me to research ACO-REACH, which is a Medicare experiment being performed by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. I wrote about this about a year ago, and I have put a link to that article in the newsletter. You can go and read it. Accountability care organizations are an interesting idea in principle, but difficult to implement without very significant risk, and I perceive them to be way too risky. Anyway, let me give you some background material if you're not familiar with Medicare. Traditional Medicare provides beneficiaries the free choice of any doctor or hospital. It reimburses the providers at a set rate for services, fee for service. Because of its simplicity, the program spends about 98% of the money it has on patient care and 2% on administration. Now, if you're in the insurance world, let me point out to you that that's incredibly low because most commercial insurance companies are in the 12 to 20+% administrative cost, including overhead and profit. It's incredible. Anyway, now remember, hospitalization, which is Part A of Medicare, is mostly covered without monthly payments, and Part B, the medical part, requires a monthly payment. Drug plans and gap plans can be purchased separately because Medicare is a really old system. It's an 80-20 insurance. They pay 80, you pay 20, and the gap plans pick up a large amount of that 20% and limit how much you would have to pay on a yearly basis. Also, drugs are not generally covered under Medicare, so you need a separate insurance plan for that. Now, Medicare Advantage, often called Part C, my friends call it Medicare Disadvantage, is run mainly by commercial insurers for profit. The government, Medicare, pays the insurers via capitation, a lump sum per enrollee. Then Medicare Advantage insurers, they're supposed to spend 85% of the money that they get on patient care, keep the other 15% as overhead and profit. Taxpayers spend $321 a year more per patient on Medicare Advantage than they do on traditional Medicare. Just saying. Annual gross profit margins for Medicare Advantage plans average about $1,608 per enrollee between 2016 and 2018. I'm sure I don't have the 2024 data, but I can only imagine how much bigger it is. Remember, they make money by charging more, upcoding patients to say they're sicker than they are so they get more money from the government, and then denying service and denying prior authorizations and not paying claims. So they hold the money longer, the money is invested, they make more money. Due to fraudulent upcoding, risk scores of enrollees in Medicare Advantage are 19% higher than in traditional Medicare. That's because they are cheating. I don't know, I have no other way to say it, but all of a sudden people on regular Medicare become sicker when they go to Medicare Advantage. You know, they're just lying. Anyway, it causes Medicare to overpay the Medicare Advantage insurers by more than $106 billion from 2010 to 2019. We have seen that the top Medicare Advantage providers are under Department of Justice criminal investigation for this fraud. This includes profit and not-for-profit Medicare Advantage insurers. Billions of dollars of fraud. The good news is since the government is the insurance provider, really, since they're paying the bill, they get to send the FBI out and take the money back. I would point out, for those of you who are interested, that Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, who wants to again be the senator, oversaw HCA, which is a huge network of hospitals and providers, and in the 90s was responsible for the largest Medicare-Medicaid fraud in history to that point. And they had to pay back in criminal and civil liabilities, I believe it was $2.3 billion to the federal government. But he smiles and he wants to get elected again. What a nice guy. Anyway, CMS wants to save money. They're always interested in paying less. So they claim to be looking for ways to provide better care at lower cost than traditional Medicare. They have developed innovative payment schemes for cancer treatment, where they pay a fixed amount for treatment, no matter how much treatment you need. Now, doesn't that sound good? Well, yes, up until they stop providing treatment. That one makes me really nervous, since the facility may, or they're going to be on the hook for extra treatment if you need it, or they may wind up just shortchanging you and say, oh, that extra treatment isn't going to help you. Go home and die. Anyway, this is all documented in a Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services pamphlet document, and I have a link to it in the newsletter. You can go read it and feel sick. Affordable care organizations, ACOs, are a way that the government thinks they can save money. So let's discuss them. They started, actually I believe they started in 2010, but they picked up steam, changing their name to Direct Contracting. It was a pilot program that was developed during the Trump administration. Get this, the person that pushed it forward was a college roommate of Eric Trump's. Of course. Anyway, to further privatization of traditional Medicare using some of the same elements as Medicare Advantage. I include a fact sheet on it from PNHP, that's the Physicians for a National Health Plan, who have spent a long time reviewing this material. So go take a look there and you can read everything that's wrong with ACOs all in a different place. Anyway, there are three basic models for ACOs. They include Medicare Shared Savings Plan, MSSP, ACO Realizing Equity, Access, and Community Health, REACH, and the Kidney Care Choices, KCC models. Now, ACO-REACH and KCC are still both pilot models under CMS's innovation arm, CMMI. Combined, these three models serve, get this, 13.7 million Medicare beneficiaries. That's about half of all the people enrolled in traditional Medicare. An accountable care organization can be run by any medical facility or a middleman or a private equity interest or a commercial operation. They essentially create a medical network that will receive payments from the Medicare trust and then from the trust fund, and then they pay the networks that they have created to take care of patients. Sounds simple, right? You created a new middleman. An ACO-REACH organization manages the cost of care for traditional Medicare beneficiaries who are taking part in the model. CMS pays ACO-REACH management teams for the estimated cost of care for the beneficiaries for that year. The ACO-REACH team then pays the providers, just as I said. What isn't spent is kept by the ACO-REACH. That is the shared risk part. Now, MSSP type of ACOs offer providers a chance to make extra money by sharing in the savings of keeping patients healthy, or by reducing care, because if they don't spend the money on care, they keep the money. Anyway, the ACO-REACH functions a little like a Medicare Advantage plan, except you don't get to sign up for it. If your doctor is in a practice that has joined one, well, that's where you are. While they are allegedly motivated to keep you healthy, they keep more of the money that way, they are also motivated to have you see their doctors in their network and use their network facilities, no matter whether that's in your best interest or not. Again, they keep more money that way. Providers have to demonstrate quality care, but it's really like students grading their own exams. I used to be a professor, and I found out that if you let the students grade themselves, they pretty much get A's. Same thing here. They must submit a health equity plan based on a fill-in-the-blank worksheet, which is neither measurable nor enforceable. Despite the rebranding, ACO-REACH has a number of downsides. Investor-owned middlemen who can pocket much of the Medicare payments as profit and overhead. Automatic enrollment of beneficiaries who must change providers if they want to opt out and have real choice. Opportunities to increase profits by upcoding and restricting care, just like they do in Medicare Advantage. And of course, the potential to expand privatization to all of traditional Medicare, which is just a giant giveaway to the commercial world. As one industry analyst put it, and I have a link to his analysis, the ACO-REACH rebranding is a public relations exercise that should not tangibly impact the for-profit entities currently participating in the model in ACO. I have a link to the government's ACO-REACH webpage. You can go there. You can sign up for regular email updates from them at the bottom of that page if you want. Let me summarize it for you. Accountable care organizations are another tactic, like Medicare Advantage, to pay others to shoulder the risk of providing insurance. It is an experiment slated to run through 2026 and will be likely allowed to continue afterward. It focuses traditional Medicare enrollees into the ACO network of their doctor without their knowledge or approval. The providers in the ACO are incentivized to use their own ACO doctors and facilities as cost-saving measures instead of allowing patients the right to shop for what suits them best. They are also incentivized to limit care and treatment to increase the profitability of the ACO. Patients who find out that they are in an ACO, you should ask your doctor, can exit only by finding a new doctor. Depending on where you live, this may be nearly impossible. This is not the Medicare we paid for. Let's take an action and let Congress know that this is not what they should be providing. I want to also point out that in the document that I mentioned early on that had the information on bundling of fees, like for cancer treatment, if you go to that document, you will also find that a goal of CMS is to have every Medicare enrollee, every traditional Medicare enrollee into an ACO by 2030. Okay, let's remind those people in Congress that the President that CMS is trying to put seniors into accountable care organizations without their knowledge or approval, and that those organizations are incentivized to limit care. Seniors can only leave an ACO by changing doctors. They're never informed that they're in network. This is a bait and switch. Traditional Medicare as a public insurance trust works well. Ask anyone who uses it. They can choose any doctor anytime, and public insurance trusts are an inexpensive way of insuring a large population because the administrative cost is about 2%, far less than the 12 to 20% used by commercial insurance. I have a link in the YouTube description box if you want to call or email them, or you can just use ResistBot. On your cell phone, send a text message to 50409. It is sign, S-I-G-N, space, P-T-K-E-O-O. That's sign, P-T-K-E-O-O to 50409. I am your constituent, and I want you to know that the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is once again running the ACO-REACH activity, assigning seniors in traditional Medicare to accountable care organizations, networks who are incentivized to limit care. They are assigned without their knowledge and can only leave an ACO by trying to find a new doctor. Good luck with that. Stop these experiments with healthcare. If you want care that is affordable for everyone, pass universal health care and get it done. Otherwise, you are just paying organizations run by middlemen and private investors to limit the care that seniors get and keep what isn't spent on care as profits. That's what I've got for you today. Thank you. Down below in the YouTube description box, you can like, share, or subscribe. You can send me a comment and I'll do research on an article for you. You can send it here or to healthcareadvocacy1@gmail.com. Have a good day.